special occasion. Do it Mondays, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Thursdays, holidays and weekends. We can have one more party. There's more hell we should be raising. One more party now, one more party tonight.
Hi everybody and welcome to part 8 of The Old Barn. We're getting towards the last parts of this now, I think. Yesterday in my land, last time, we put on the second layer of the grass, which I'm quite pleased with. I think that looks nice and just needs a few more details now to really bring that to life. Just looking around the picture, and I know we generally do this last, but there's a few things that just come to mind that need a bit of tickling up. I'm not happy with these clouds particularly. I mean, I like the clouds, they're fine, but I think that one of them needs to grow a little bit because they're just so similar. There's just two clouds in the sky that you would never, the sky never fails to amaze, but they look a bit artificial. And I'd also like to just bring in a few little trailing clouds there, as you can see here on the actual reference picture. Also, when we come round to doing the final thing, these trees need just a little bit more oranged up. The orange has just gone from them. And this water here, it's just way too turquoise. It needs hauling back a little bit into a more blue colour. And just one more thing. On the reference picture, you can see this very corner here is this light brown colour, which we've done. Not sure if you can see that. Yeah, you can see it. It's there, but it actually doesn't look in keeping. It looks like just an odd corner that's been put in at a later date and it's the wrong colour. So I'm just going to darken that down a little bit, and then we're going to start on this side panel. Hopefully start and finish with that side panel, maybe even get on to putting some details in the grass. But we'll deal with the clouds, I think, first of all, because they're the thing that irk me the most at the moment. So I'm just going to use some ordinary, not the open, just the ordinary titanium white, golden heavy body, and my Deerfoot stippler. Now, all your brushes, I tell you always to dampen before you use them, so as they're receptive to paint. If the fibres are damp, then the paint finds it easier to wick up them and you get a bigger load of paint on your brush. With the Deerfoot stippler, don't do that because you want the stipple marks, and if it's wet, they just go soft and you don't get that actual stipple. So that's an exception to the rule with regards to the Deerfoot stippler. So let's just load a little bit of paint up onto there, maybe a little bit more. I haven't really decided which one I'm doing, but this one I would guess. So I'm just going to put a little bit of quite bright white in there and just bring it to tail off a little bit. And I am literally just going up and down. I'm stippling on it, and then when it comes to here, I'm just trailing it off, just gently like that. We'll leave that to dry and see what it looks like. It looks fine from here at the minute, but it might just dry back and we might need to have to go in and reinstate it a little bit. Now these ones down the bottom are tiny and they're very faint, so I'm loading my brush up, but I'm not going to be using anything like that amount. And they sort of go behind that tree actually on this. But I've actually, on my canvas, I've got a mark here. I have no idea what it is. I've also got one there. And so I'd quite like to cover them up with clouds if I can. So we'll see how we go. I think I'm going to have to come in to that with another layer. Yeah, that's what I had in mind. I like that. It looks far away in the distance just above these mountains. So I'll leave that completely as is. I'm just going to wrap my brush in a piece of kitchen towel, because I don't want the brush to dry out, because that'll jigger the brush up, but I don't want to wet it either, for the purposes I've already explained to you about not dipping it in water. So I'll wrap it up in that, and hopefully that'll keep it. No, it doesn't want to stay. Mr. Fix It'll fix it. So I think that looks a bit better even like that, actually, that cloud being expanded on just a little and falling down a bit, and this little row along there. I quite like that. Right, let's get cracking then with the with this side. So I don't need that for the moment. Back to my wet palette today, because we're using Golden Opens, which are just as lovely and fresh as when I first put them out. Thank you. So I need some brushes, really would be a good idea. So what I'm going to use is a 1/4 inch angle shader. I'm going to take my dagger out, sword, that one. Oh, that's a sword as well. I didn't know I had that 1/4 inch sword from De La Roni. There you go, you live and learn. So in that case then I do need an angle shader. Oh, that feels... it's not been washed properly. But fortunately I have another one. And I'll leave these 2 filberts out. I don't think I'm going to use them, but I'll leave them out. So that's 1/4 inch angle shader, 1/4 inch sword, dagger, number 10 filbert, and a number 6 filbert. Leave them out, see where we get to. Right, okay. I think what I'm proposing to do is to just put this over my finished piece, because I don't really want to be dripping paint from my palette over here. And if I do that, I can bring my palette over to here, which saves less toing and froing. Move myself. Mr. Fix It's going to have a fit when he comes back and I've moved. But never mind. I'm sure he'll live with it. Right, so let's get cracking. This first bit then looks like it's largely sort of raw umber, with perhaps a bit of white through it. It's not the darkest of darks, this one. And it goes right up to that corner. In fact, I'm going to paint it up to our corner, which like that. Now I know at least one of you has jumped forward on me, and you've already done this part. And may I say, it looked really nice. I've moved across, so you might want to move my camera across. It just so happened it was easier. Thank you. It's better. I'm dying to get this side in and see what it looks like. I'm sure it's going to look really nice. It's going to begin to square our picture up, because up until now the pictures look like it's kind of on the wonk, like you want to go along and straighten it all the time, whereas it is straight. It just hasn't looked it. So changing the amount of raw umber that we're using as we go down, Some of it's neat raw umber, some of it's got white in it. Just give it a difference. And this is straight, but I haven't got a line for it, so I'll just let's carry on where I think it is. Fortunately, it's old. Everything here is old, so if your line isn't exactly straight, it doesn't really make much difference. I'm wondering if the chap who posted this original photograph on, was it Pixabay? Unsplash? Pixabay. If you'd like to have a look at this painting when it's finished. I think if I'd taken the photograph, I'd quite like to see what somebody had made of it. I might email him a picture and thank him, let him know what I've done with it, and the fact that it's been a series of classes on YouTube, which you can watch and join in with if he wishes. So that's our first post put in. There's quite a light bit down that corner, right down the corner, so let's go to the titanium buff. Put a light line down there. It's a lovely day here in Northumberland. Yesterday was a lovely day also, so I'm beginning to have hope that summer may come one of these days. It's 22 degrees outside today, which for us is pretty good. We don't really get much above that, do we, here? You know, it's we're quite north.
And quite high up.
Yeah, and quite high up, which plays an important role in the temperature. Okay, so I'm quite pleased with that. In here I've got fluid retarder, which is pretty green, but it'll do the job. Just rinse my brush out from that very, very light colour that I had. I think I might treat myself to another cloth. Poor Mr. Fix-It, he's got no t-shirts left. I've been through them all, as you can see. Makes a lovely cloth for wiping your brushes off though, old t-shirts. So let's mix a bit of this with that. This has got some oranges on it, but I'll wait till I've got the base. I'll put the base in first and go back. I can see it. Couldn't work out where it was there. Thought this was it. This is really a very dark colour down here. Actually, Toy, I think for this I'm going to get my ordinary heavy body paints out. Right, so I've just had a break there and I've swapped the open paints and palette out for my regular Snellia Abstract colours that I use. It's the usual suspects: raw sienna, burnt sienna, raw umber, burnt umber, yellow ochre, titanium buff, and a little bit of purple. So, once again, let's get cracking. And I am still going to keep this over here. It's just the likelihood of an accident happening while you're transporting paint over a piece that's already painted. Why take the risk when you can just cover it up? So that's what I'm going to do. Actually, that opens. Still a little bit tacky, but largely dry. So we're back to the angle shader. I'm just going to go for a slightly darker this raw umber. And darken up this face of it a little bit. It's pretty dark, that, actually. I can see the line that I need to follow. There. And this is the line from the front piece. I mean, it's the same piece. It's the front edge of this bit of timber. This is pretty much raw umber all the way. Raw umber all the way. It's a bit yellow ochre going in there at the top. Apart from that, it's pretty dark. It's really on the side where there's no light hitting it at all, pretty much. So what would you like to see for the next one? What do you fancy painting? It could be anything, really. What do you fancy, Mr. Fix-It? Anything?
Anything, yeah. Whatever you fancy doing, really. I mean, do you fancy an animal or vegetable, mineral?
Huh. Well, an animal might be something different, mightn't it? You know, it's a good skill to have. Actually, if you can do the grass on here, you can do animal fur. Definitely. For sure and definite. So maybe we should expand on the skills we've learnt here for the grass, for animal fur. So that begs the question.
Well, that eliminates fish, reptiles.
I'm not doing reptiles. I am not doing. I couldn't. I don't think I could. I'm not doing reptiles. No, they're off the chart, off the agenda. Fish.
Chameleons are quite nice.
Chameleons are quite nice. Yes, they are. Yeah, cannot tell a lie. And geckos. I don't have anything against geckos. I've got 4 legs. That's fine.
Anything with less than 2 or more than 4 just isn't right.
No. No. and I'm not painting them. I'll tell you that now for nothing. So that leaves us with sort of four-legged creatures.
Well, do you go domestic with cats and dogs, or do you go farmyard?
Well, cows are quite nice, sheep are quite nice.
Donkeys?
Donkeys?
Pigs?
Donkeys might be quite nice. Most people like donkeys, don't they? But would you want a picture of a donkey up in your house? Really? Honestly?
Me personally, probably not.
No. I suspect there's quite a few people like that. And really, once you've painted this and you've painted along with us, you want it to be something that you want to hang in your house with pride, don't you?
Well,
so you don't want to say, come in and see my donkey.
It's some chat up line, isn't it, really?
You might not get very far with it, just saying. So, well, it leaves like pandas, tigers, cheetahs, lions. This is like a name that animal sort of thing, isn't it?
Well, yes. Name anything with fur, really. Giraffe.
Giraffes are nice. They've got sort of a funny expression, haven't they?
And long tongues.
And very long tongues. And, can I just say, the saliva that comes off the tongue is copious and stinky. I went to a safari park once and my car had a sunroof in it, and a giraffe came along and stuck its head in the sunroof, and I thought, oh, how nice is this? So I went to do the slobber landed on me and it was stinking. So no, I don't think I'll be doing a giraffe, frankly.
And you have ridden a camel?
I have ridden a camel. Yes, I have. That's very true. I think that needs to be darker in there, actually. Yes, I have ridden a camel. And as you all know, I'm quite a big lass. I wasn't as big back then in the day, but still it was a sight to behold. I have the photographs.
It started out with one hump and ended up with two.
Sometimes he's just not funny, is he? Right, we need a little bit of yellow ochre in there if it's dry, which I think it probably is. I'm just going to use my other angle shader. Get some clean yellow on there. It's coming down here. Into there. There's literally dry brush in it. Pandas are nice though, aren't they? Has to be said, pandas are nice.
Pandas are nice.
You don't need many colours.
Limits your palette, which is also a good thing.
No, you don't need that many colours, really.
Monkeys are nice, of course, but could end up too much like a self-portrait.
I think monkeys would be very, very difficult. Maybe wrong, but I really do. Because they'd end up looking human, I think. So you'd end up with this human face with all hair everywhere. Could go horribly wrong. No, I don't think monkeys. So this side of this, I need a bit of brown in that. So what have we got then? Dogs, cats. Sheep. Yeah, sheep are nice. Lambs are nicer. Cows can be very nice. Bulls. I know they're cows. They're just a male cow. But they're kind of interesting. just sort of worn away, this post, so I'm just wearing it away with my brush. And this side of it's pretty dark for the same reason as the other one was pretty dark. It's got no lights. So it's dog, cat, sheep, or cow.
Probably sums it up, I think.
Right.
But we can always throw it open to the great beyond.
Well, yeah. Not a bad idea, really. Just going to get some yellow on the top of this. I don't think that's entirely faithful to what it is on the picture, but it's what I feel it needs. So that's what it's getting. Just a little bit there. And maybe some. I've got a contaminated brush. I can tell you that at this exact moment, Mr. Fix-It's away looking at the bookshelf. So I can only imagine something weird and wonderful is going to come out of this. Right, okay. So there's just a tiny little bit of lightness down this, and it's got a slightly violet hue to it. So I'm just going to take a tiny little bit of my purple, bit of that. I've forgotten how far this purple goes. It goes a long way. There we are. I think that's okay. Really, I want very little paint on here. It's just a sort of a dry brush, really. So that's the book that you've got, Mr. A. Oh, sure. There you go. That may well be what we do next then. That's a good find on the bookshelf.
Beautiful sheep.
That's when I was felting, wasn't it? Was it? Was it painting? Painting. Pasteling is what it was. Pasteling. I used to do an awful lot with pastels.
Studio photographs of 40 champion breeds.
Well, I
Who
think
knew so many different types of sheep.
Can you get the sheep down, please?
Very nice one there. Hebridean.
Looks like a goat, doesn't it? Looks like a goat. Yeah, it's nice. That's kind of where that stops. In there. Yeah, this is one of the pictures I did when I was pasteling, with the grasses and this coat, this fleece here that, I don't know if you can you see that? Probably not. It's glaring a bit, I think. Have you got it? Yeah. Okay, so yeah, something like that might be quite nice. But then again, that's on again with the just need a bit more purple in this, and I need a bit of brown. And as hard as it is to believe it, my paint is drying up already. That's ridiculous. Okay, that's a really good colour for what we want. Really good. So that it's this piece here that is that weird purpley sort of colour. I mean, it's not all, but we'll put it all in and then we'll come back over with a dark. Yeah, you know what I'm saying about the background of the sheep? It's grass again, isn't it? And we've just done grass. I suppose you could put it onto something else. This is literally just putting a background in for the colours that's going to come on top of it. As you know, it's all about layering. Okay. That's fine. I'm trying to keep away from flowers and such like, because I really love flowers.
Choose any one of the Grand Masters.
Show them, there's no point showing me.
It's of interest. Any particular genre?
Have a look at the Impressionists. We haven't done anything even remotely impressionist. We've been very detail oriented so far. Blimey, it's hot here today. For my paints, that's not the colour I want. For my poor paints. Okay, so we'll get in there. So I'll add a little bit of fluid retardant to that because it's just getting a bit sticky, a bit too sticky. The fluid retardant is green, but I suppose for a moment it's going to influence the dark brown of the Rottenbach. So, okay, there we are. So now we need some quite bright yellows, ochre sort of colours in there. Ochres and raw siennas, just nice oranges. Maybe just add a little bit burnt sienna in there. That's a nice orangey colour. And it sort of comes down. I'm going to have to mix some white in with that. I've still got this out that I used for the clouds, so that's good. Mix some white in with it, otherwise it's too transparent. No, not finding anything that takes your fancy?
Not at the moment. We should go through our vast collection.
Well, it's true, we do have a book or two about art.
See what I can find.
It's predominantly this colour, but the other colour that's coming through is this weird browny, violety colour in parts. And then down here it's largely yellow ochre. Yellow ochre, raw sienna. Let's see how that does. Need it slightly brighter than that. Might have to mix an actual yellow through that. Yeah, no, I need this is Cad Yellow Deep, and it really is hit you in the eye yellow, as you will see. There you go. That's quite bright. Yeah, I think that's a nice mix in colour there. That piece is larger colour. It's got some brown umber over the top of it, and I've got that colour in my hand. I'll put some of it on here where it needs to be. So this has now got several layers on, and it's beginning to start to look right. Okay, right, let's just finish this little piece up here. So we need some raw umber, which I've mixed some tiny little bit of retarding fluid through, so it's a bit more receptacle. It's twice I've said that now. A bit more receptive to getting on a brush. Have you fallen short?
At the moment.
Yeah. You're not going to give up on the idea though, finding something, are you? Just for now.
Perhaps we'll go through and pick half a dozen images off Pixabay, Pexels, Unsplash.
Yeah.
And put them up for public vote, maybe.
That's a good idea.
Alternatively, we could do something in the style of, as it were.
say, Matthew, I'm going to be Picasso, Monet, Manet, Degas. Rossetti, Burne-Jones.
This is very, very dark up here. And I think it needs to be because it's offset against the roof. And that bit there is also very dark. This corner is too. Okay, I'm quite pleased with that. Every time I look at the painting on the monitor, I can't see this bit. It's like it belongs to a different painting or something. It's quite a weird effect. Right, then. I can't really make out these marks very well. Anyway, I'm sure I will. Let's add some raw umber to that purple mixture that we had, along with a little bit of fluid retarder, because it's just all tightening up on me. We'll put in this part here. So it's very dark, and I think that's the top one there. Might even have to add some black into that, but for the time being, this will serve the purpose as a place marker, if you like. And I'm just going to use my dagger, sword, whatever, just to put these lines in. I'm going to get some black out actually, because there's no point not getting it out if we need it. Just kind of making work for ourselves. Whey, hello. It's very warm today and lively. I'm just going to mix some black through that. It's going to give us a dark colour but not black. Let's just reinstate that, go over it and just make it really dark. And it's a relatively straight line at the bottom. I'm going to have to turn it round. Right, while I'm here I might as well put in the planks, because that's what I need this really dark colour for. Thank you.
Get to it easy.
Oh, gone off pieced a bit there. I may have to reinstate these after I've painted them, but we'll see. At least now we've got a kind of a map going. We know where we are. I want the 1/4 inch angle shader. I want some of this colour. Oh, that's so tight. That's basically yellow, but this one here is a quite bright purpley colour actually. And the one next to it has got a bit of that in the middle, and it's sort of more brown at the end really. fine. So I'll go into a bit of this and a bit of that and mix that together. It's just a bit too light. Steal a bit of black from there. Lovely. Drops down off there. There'll be some highlights and stuff to go on, but we just basically need to get that first layer on, get the canvas covered, you know, block it in, choose the colour that there is most of, is kind of the rule, and get your first layer in, which is blocking in. Then you can go back and tart and titivate. There's a bit of that there, so I'll put that in, seeing as I've got it on my brush. And I think it just gets a little bit lighter. It's kind of the same thing, but just a little bit lighter. So just add some titanium buff to that. I think those lines that we put in for the planks serving as well give us an idea of where to paint up to. You know, you can get lost. You can get lost in any painting, and suddenly you realise you come to the edge of your canvas, and actually, you know, you're only in the middle of the picture. That's a bit extreme. That doesn't really ever happen, but you know what I mean. So putting those lines in have grounded us, and if we have to put them in again, that's fine. It'll be fine. It's not the biggest job in the world. Right, so now I need to go back into that very dark colour, which was there, and just reinstate this dark bit here. I might also go over that because I don't think that's dark enough. So let's get some of this going then. There's some of that, some black, a little bit more black. I want this dark, but you don't want it black. And I'm just going to add some fluid retarder, just whatever's on my brush, into that. Just to try and keep it going while I'm trying to use it here. So let's go over this one. So it's very dark. It's darker than we have it in. Lovely, that's grand. And here is dark shadow. I'll just put that in right down to there. And then while I've got this black out and it's fluid, where else needs it? Well, there's a couple of marks down here that need black on them. Just to sort of highlight that bit of wood there. That's fine. Here we did say these were very, very dark, so I'll just come back in with this very dark colour and put them in. And there is this dark little section here. It is worth paying attention to your reference picture because it's real. I'm not suggesting that you do, follow it every little bit, but you do get really good hints and clues from it as to where the light is and the shadows, and you need those. They're essential to any painting. You need the light and you need the shadows. So this isn't exactly straight over here, so just make it not straight. Okay, so what about this one? Well, it's very dark down here for sure. I'm just dry brushing. Gives the effect that I want. I think that edge is pretty dark, so I'm going to put it in as pretty dark. So raw umber and black mixture, and I've added a little bit of fluid retarder to it, so that's why I've still got mileage in it, even although it's not an open paint. I've openified it myself by adding fluid retarder to it. So I'm just going to do this edge, which is what I think is the darkest part of that, and that's kind of livened that up a bit, I think. Is that looking okay on the monitor, Mr. Fix-It? Oh,
it's looking very nice.
Oh, excellent. I don't really want to do too much to this, but there is quite a bit of dark in it. There's a couple of little sort of just little suggestions of dark bits in that bit of wood. And as it gets down here, it does get a little bit darker. Yeah, I think that's fine. You can't always use your finger to spread things out and kind of lose them, bed them in. Your finger's a really good tool for that. There's no brush that does that. I might just take a little bit of this, wipe it off on my cloth and just dry brush a little bit across here. As I said, you can use your finger. If you've got rather too much paint on your brush, just use your finger, seat it in. See how it pushes that back in. A big lump. I like that. I think that's looking better. Get off. Yeah, happy with that. Right, so we need a bit of yellow ochre, raw sienna yellow ochre, probably in this little gap here. Then we need to put some. Oh, that's just bone dry now. So that's our base coat. But over the top of that, we want some of that sort of purpley colour because it just doesn't stand out, that one. I'll just literally be a second till I dry it. Getting stuff dry today is not my problem. It's keeping it damp enough to paint with it, really. So it's a mixture of this, so please be alive. It's all dead, it's all dead. It's dead. Oh, no. Well done, Mr. Fix-It. It's revitalised it. I'd like to paint a complete picture with it, but it's... There's a good tip for you folks. There we are. just going to add a darker bit to it. That's great. Now we just need to put that black shadow, blackish shadow, which is still wonderfully wet because it's had the retarder in it. And come up here just to match in with the rest of the shadow. Right, okay. So now we've got these planks that go that way. I'm not saying this is finished in any way. Literally, we've been blocking in, so there's bound to be other things that we need to do. But let's move on down to these planks, see if we can't get them well on the way, you know, blocked in plus, let's say. Before we move on to them, I'm just going to put some titanium buff down here because it looks like it needs it. It's just catching the light nicely. Okay, and maybe down here too. Yeah, okay, that's good. Right, so now we're on to these planks, and I think for me it's just going to be easier if I turn the whole thing over, around, not over. That would be a good trick, wouldn't it? If you could paint from the back of your canvas. Some people used to on glass, you know. What are they called again? Crystalliums, yes, that's right. And they get a piece of glass, or crystal actually, if you were well off, I guess, and they'd paint the painting from the back as you would see it. So the paint's here, glass here, and you would view it from here, which means you're painting the whole thing in reverse, whereas you normally put the details on last. They would be putting them on first. I mean, that's quite a skill, that is, isn't it? Quite a skill. Anyway, look, this isn't getting us building a barn, is it? Gabbing away here. I'm going to put the yellow, the bright colour on first. I'm actually going to turn that around so I can see what I'm trying to achieve, which is, I think, a mixture of this Cad Deep and Rose Sienna. A bit more of the Cad, perhaps. And we're blocking in, so don't get too hung up on details. The time to get hung up on details will come, but this isn't it. It's quite interesting actually, these planks, because you can see it's perfect how perspective is working. This one's virtually straight across and these ones are at quite an angle, and that's the perspective. But fortunately we don't need to worry about it too much because someone's taken a photograph for us and we don't have to think about perspective.
As long as you use the tracing paper, of course.
Unless you want to draw it yourself. I mean, if you want, you know, I keep saying these tutorials I do are about painting. If you want to learn to draw, it's a brilliant skill to have, and it will bring you lots of joy. I know it will. I taught myself to draw. I then went on to do a degree, but I taught myself to draw, and it's just a lovely thing. You can sit down with a pad and paper, pad and pen, pencil, whatever marker you choose, and draw something, and it's really nice skill to have. And if you can do this on, you know, if you can draw this out yourself, that's great. But that's not what I'm teaching here. I'm teaching how to paint it. You know, perspective and all that sort of stuff. Yeah, it can be quite hard, actually. Ooh. I want to put that over onto my picture. This one hasn't got anything very much going on in that department. Just going to add a little bit of fluid retarder to that. A bit more, it's getting really sticky. Should have persevered with the opens really, because this is sticky. Just leaving that line there just for me, so I can see where one plank ends and another begins. This one at the bottom is pretty much all this colour, this mixture. Okay, that's great. Right, so this here is that very dark mixture that we mixed up, and also part of this bit here is that dark colour, which is doing a really good job of staying open for us with that fluid retarder. Sort of the top part is lighter, so we'll try and keep it lighter. And it's just quite dark down here. Honestly, the way to paint a straight line is get plenty of paint on your brush, but I just haven't got enough left, so I'm kind of dragging it a bit, I'm afraid. And there was something else, yes, this. Yikes. Let's hope fluid retarder does its job. Looks like it is. I'm going to mix up another little bit as well, actually. That's great. So this section in here is very, very dark. Because it's got so much fluid retarder in it, might need a second coat. But that's, that's okay. It's just its first layer. It's one layer of paint over canvas. Can't expect miracles, folks. Okay, right. So now we've got this dark colour. Let's start at the top again and see where we need it. That plank hasn't got any very dark. This plank, it's got a knot in it, actually. And then it's got, just going to use my sword brush here. Pick up some of this. I think I might be getting a bit jazzy here, but never mind. Yeah, I think that'll work. Then we'll get the colours in, then we'll put that in. I think that'll work for us. Let's put the dark colours in first. This one's got a fair bit of it along there. This one's quite dark altogether. And this has just got a tiny little bit of dark right at the bottom corner. And it comes up like that. Okay. Right, so this is what you might say the ugly stage. I mean, it really is ugly. And you're wondering if it's ever going to, if you're ever going to pull it back from there. But yes, we are. Let's make a nice dark mixture again. Some of that tiny little bit of purple. A bit of titanium, unbleached titanium. We're getting sort of there, we're getting kind of to the colour we want. Let's add a bit of red to that, boost the purple up a bit. Okay, so part of that is the colour I want. Part I'm going to take some raw umber and mix through it to give us a darker version of that colour. So that's great. So now we've got this darker one and the quite bright one, and that's really all the colours we need now to put in this these bulbs. So this is the lighter of the two. Too much paint on the brush. And it's just literally texture there. It's not anything, it's just marks. So stippling them in. So we can still see that background colour, which is important, that's why we put it in. But it's sort of hidden. Before I do that, I'm just going to add some fluid retarder. That's the fella, fluid retarder. It's serving as well today. This one, so right across the top here, it's got this colour all the way over. Oh no, missed one out. Oh well, I've invented one for that. Good job, it's not somebody's eye or something, isn't it? That would be a bit bad. I think the line in between these planks is pretty black. So we'll put that in when we've finished putting all this texture in. It's great to have that yellow underneath, because you wouldn't get it that bright on top. So it's showing up nicely through as a ground, really, which is good. It's suiting me, let's say. I'm aware that I've overrun the hour that I normally am on, but I really want to get this side finished. But you can always stop anytime you want to, and I'll still be there when you come back to me. So don't put too much paint on your brush. You want the ground to show through. Maybe that we have to leave it to properly dry and come back and do some details on it, but we'll certainly get the most, for the main part it will be finished today, this side. And then next time it will be grass details, which is the bit I'm looking forward to. And after that there's just the other side to do. So then we really have to get our thinking caps on about what's coming next. Okay, so what's that looking like? Yeah, that's looking quite nice. Is that looking alright, Mr. F? Nearly called you Mr. H, but you're not that anymore.
No.
You've had a personality. No, not personality, just a name. Still the same guy. Still really nice. Still lovely. Right, so into this darker mix that we mixed. Just going to add some fluid retarder into that so we can work with it. That's grand. Lovely. So I'm going to wipe some of that bulk of excess paint off. We're just going to go back in. It's just a tad darker, this one. So I'm just going to add some detail. I think it's not dark enough. Let's add a bit of black to it. Yep, it's better. Yeah, that's good. So, along each plank there is a black line. So let's make sure we put those in. Here. There's that knot, which I think I will come back to and put some real detail on that. I'm literally just adding texture here. Because it's old, they're worn, they're like me. So this doesn't have to be in any definite pattern, we're just adding interest. We're trying to make it look really authentic. I like these dark lines, they are there on the reference picture. These dark lines down the front of the plank. So I think it's a good addition, definitely. This one's quite light actually, light in colour. And the bottom one is really quite light. I'm just going to sort of dry brush a bit of that over there. Just give it some texture, but it is quite light, so I want to leave it quite light. I'm going to put that line in. Okay, so now this very dark one's dried, and it needs another coat, so I'll just give it that while we're here. Right, so I said I was going to do something with that knot. I don't know if I can or I can't, but I'll give it a try. So I'm going to load my brush up with black. I'm just going to come around it and give it a little line like that. I don't think you can actually even see this, so I don't know if it's worth it or not, but I'll know it's there. So I'm going to make the actual knot a little bit darker. Yeah, okay, well I know it's there. I don't know if you can see that. Where is it? Where are we? Is it here somewhere? Yeah, it's there. I don't think it's... Yeah, there you can. Right, okay, so let's have an overall look at this. See where we are and where we're going. I think this edge down there is too light. I like this leading bit here, like that, like that. That possibly needs a little more work done to it, a bit more yellow in it, I think. These planks here are fine. So I'm just going to address that bit of very light dry brushing that I did, because I don't like it. I don't think it's the right colour. I don't think it's suiting our purposes. Let's try this one. Not look any better. Right, this should be pretty much a glaze. Actually, I've added so much retarder to it, which is fine. Yeah, I think that's much better. Much better. So now we need a very dark line down there, because now I don't have very much to differentiate one from the other. So I'm going to take some actual black and just put that line in down there. Just down here, I think. Yeah, okay. I'm going to leave it at that. I'm going to let it sit and dry and do its own thing for a while, and then on the next one we'll just tidy up whatever needs tidying up. I don't think there's vast amounts that need tidying up on there, and get onto the grass. So let's have a look when we take that away. What does that look like? It looks different now, doesn't it? It looks kind of included. Yeah, that's great. I'm happy with that. So sorry I've detained you today. We haven't really got masses done, but I'll see you very soon. Thanks for joining me. Bye.
Me and the boys was sitting around drinking. We was talking about things that we was thinking, when all of a sudden, what comes out of Bill's mouth? Said I'm getting old and fat and slow, and I don't recover like I did before from nights of rabble, rousing, and too much fun. Well, I looked around and we all agreed, and I had a drink and I ordered 3, and I staggered back to do it all again. Then we made an oath on a rum and coke with the best intention, I'm sure you know, that we would stop this living in excess. We're gonna have one more party, one more special occasion. Do it Mondays, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Thursdays, holidays and weekends. We can have one more party. There's more hell we should be raising. One more party now, one more party.